I'm B-Boy Bill, and this is How to Bait a Swarm Trap. One of the problems with a brand new swarm trap is it smells like brand new wood. We're going to go ahead and try to make it smell a little bit more appealing to the bees. One way to do that is with some brood comb. Now, depending on who you talk to, it may not be a good idea to put a whole frame of comb in the hive. You may end up with problems with wax moths. What we can do is get some old brood comb and smear down the sides of the inside of our swarm trap. I was lucky enough to get this brood comb from my friend Jim. I've gone ahead and warmed a little bit of the brood comb up. Basically just put it in this jar and set it on my little oil radiator for a half hour, and it's nice and sticky in there. We're going to take this out and we're going to rub the insides of our trap with it. I stick some together, trying to make a nice ball with it, and then I go ahead and rub the insides of the trap with it. Now that smells like a beehive. The next thing we're going to do to make our trap a little more appealing is put in some lemongrass oil. I have some 100% pure lemongrass oil that I found on Amazon. You can find it in the link below for the brand I'm using. We're going to need a piece of paper towel. And we'll need a Ziploc style bag. We're going to drip some of the lemongrass oil onto our towel. I think about 7 drops should do it. Once you have your paper towel scented with lemongrass oil, we're going to go ahead and put it in the bag. Then we'll zip the bag up, leaving about 1 inch left unzipped. That ought to do it. And this will go in our swarm trap next. The next thing we're going to do is wax the starter strip of our frames. We're using foundationless frames, and we want to encourage the bees to start building on our starter strip. I've taken 1 pound of wax and melted it down in this slow cooker along with 1 cup of water. You can leave your slow cooker on low, but if it starts to boil, you're going to want to go ahead and turn it off for a bit. I'm just using a cheap paintbrush here. I'm going to brush the starter strip on either side. That ought to do it. I'll go ahead and get the rest of the frames and the starter strips waxed, and we'll move on to the next part. Now that we've got all our starter strips waxed, I put the frames into the swarm trap. There's a little gap left in the top. I'm going to be transporting these hives in my car, and I don't want the frames to rattle around. For that reason, I've made this little strip here to keep all the frames in place. I like to drip a little bit of wax on either end of my strip here, just to give it a little more support. We're ready to put our lid on now. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple screws in the lid. This will keep it from blowing off in the wind. I'm going to put one right here in the center. It's going to come in just below where the frames rest. Pre-drill. I'm using number 8 1-inch stainless steel screws. If you can find 1-inch exterior screws, those will work just as well. Lastly, you want to make sure your entrance is open and go ahead and tighten down that wing nut. This is ready to go outside. If you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe so someone else can find it too.